Good afternoon. I'm Danny Smith, sports editor of Starkville Daily News, and to my left is Robbie Falk. He's our high school beat writer, and this is this week's version of the Digital Express. And Robbie, we're just coming off a day of a lot of exciting times for a lot of local football players from around the state. They get the chance to sign their name to the dotted line and continue their football careers, and it's always a special time for them and their families. And with the early signing period that has been, this is the third year, I think it is, for that now. It's really created a brand new opportunity for a lot of kids.
Yeah, and it's muddied the waters a little bit because, guys have to decide whether or not they want to sign in the early signing period with teams, or do they wait and possibly get better offers, or do they, wait and not have any options because a lot of teams fill up. I mean, you're talking about Mississippi State right now signed 22 guys and they only have 3 or 4 spots left. So there's not a lot of options for players if they're wanting to go to Mississippi State and Alabama and places like that. There's just it does open the door for some kids in the second signing period. It also closes some doors for some players. So you have to be careful with what you're doing. A lot of kids have the ability, like 5-star athletes, kids that are wanted by a lot of schools, they have the ability to wait and take their visits, but it's also just kind of hurried up the recruiting process for some, and a lot of kids are taking visits in April and in the summer and stuff like that. So it's been interesting to follow, but certainly makes things easier on a lot of us. We don't have to worry about a big signing day in February for Mississippi State. Of course, our day is going to be pretty busy in February with these high school kids, but it's been an interesting 3 years just kind of seeing how that's worked.
Right. Well, the JUCOs I have to restock now because a lot of the signings from yesterday. Well, it's Wednesday, or you're viewing this, but we're junior college guys moving on to 4-year schools. But just going down the list here, had from Starkville, Natron Brooks going to Southern Miss. He was at Copiah Lincoln. Jalen Ware, his teammate at Colin, also a Starkville guy, went to Temple, so that's a good deal for him. And the third Starkville guy, D'Angelo Scales, he was at Kahoma, and he's moving on to Mississippi Valley. And then you had 2 guys from West Point, Jason Brownlee and Terrence Cherry at EMCC, and they'll continue to be teammates. They just can't get away from each other. They're going to Southern Miss. And then you had 2 Choctaw County guys, Israel Whitmore, who's going directly from there to Arkansas State, and Isaiah Hunt from Northeast Mississippi Community College is going to Southeast Missouri. So a good little group from our area. All of them JUCO but one, and they're really a good. This teams are getting some good players.
Yeah, and we covered all these kids, and it's really neat to see these kids that went from high school to junior college get a chance to accomplish their dreams and be at a 4-year college. I always say you've accomplished your dream whenever you get a chance to play football or play any sport on the next level. But to get an opportunity to go to junior college and get a little more exposure, and then take that and turn it into for some of these guys Division I scholarships like Natron Brooks and Scales and Brownlee and all those guys. It's just awesome, and seeing them grow too from high school guys that might be a little immature and need a couple years to get used to that college lifestyle, to the point now where they're young men and they're getting a chance to accomplish their dreams in college is pretty cool. And especially was cool to see Natron and Jalen and Jason Brownlee and Terrence Cherry, who we covered week in and week out at Starkville and West Point.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you Southern Miss got a lot better just with those 3 guys that signed in this area. But Mississippi State just briefly had a good day. Like you said, they signed just about their whole class on Wednesday. So and they got the quarterback from Brandon they got all the commitments that they signed. So Coach Moorhead was feeling really good about things.
Yeah, I think that was really impressive. It might not be a top 10 signing class, but it's a top 25 class, and for the first time they signed their entire commitment list. And they did add a guy too from Bossier City, a defensive back, or he could play wide receiver too. Decameron Richardson was a good late pickup for them. But to sign all 21 commitments that they had, plus get a guy on board, was really impressive. And you saw the setup that they had yesterday. They really make those kids feel special, even beyond what they already are. They have a big like an NFL draft set up. Moorhead welcomes them all on FaceTime in there, and everybody, the whole staff is in there with cowbells and stuff. It was a really cool setup to see, very professional, something that I haven't really noticed before anywhere else. So that was really cool, and I know Moorhead was really relieved to get pretty much his entire allotment signed, and now all you have to do is go hard after 5 or 6 kids and try to get a few signatures in February.
Yeah, I know that I got there kind of at the end of things, and I thought I was walking into the NFL draft or something.
Yeah.
it was unlike anything I'd ever seen in my 30 years of covering sports. And I'd never covered a draft, so that was kind of gave me a little piece of that how that feels. But next week we won't have a Digital Express because we're going to take the Christmas holidays off to be with the families and friends and whatnot. But we've got some holiday basketball tournaments going on that people might want to attend. We've got the Joe Horn Classic in Columbus on Saturday. That's always a big deal for Columbus High School, and Strathville boys and girls are playing that afternoon over there. East Webster always has their big Christmas tournament, and if anybody has not been to that gym to watch basketball, it is a treat anytime you get to go. I call it the little dome at East Webster. I think they call it, some people call it the Cumberland Dome or whatever. And I know you enjoy going visiting those folks. You'll be doing that Thursday night and Friday this week.
Yeah, I'll be there 3 times this week. Was there earlier this week too. It is an enjoyable place, and it's very good for tournaments like they have every year. They usually have 2 or 3 tournaments, and then sometimes they host a district tournament too. So it's very accommodating for a large group of people, especially multiple teams. And if you're not doing anything, I think it's next weekend.
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything, that's a great place to be. If you want to go watch some hoops locally, they usually have some good teams. And like you said, Joe Horn's always great at Columbus. In January, we'll have the Mid-Mississippi Challenge at Ackerman, which is always great. So this is a fun time of year. Whenever you start getting into these tournaments, you see some matchups you won't normally see, and then you jump into district play right after that. So it's an exciting time right now, even with football over.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Travis Outlaw Slam Dunk at the Hump. The day after Christmas, the 2 days following Christmas, they just jump right back into competition. They don't wait. They get right back in there, and the Hump will be busy because Mississippi State will be right back in there at the weekend too. But a lot of neat holiday sporting events, basketball wise, going on. And football, like we said, signing day. It's a year-round. Football's a year-round sport now with all the signing days that we have. Spring football, it'll be right around the corner. Slap me for thinking that far ahead, but it's going to be here before we know it. So, but Robbie, Merry Christmas to you and your family, and to everybody out there. And we appreciate you watching Digital Express, and we'll see you next time.